record here. So we're recording now. You guys, welcome to our Monday Mastermind call. Welcome, everyone. It's great to have so many people join us today, and we really appreciate Ashlie Molstad being on this call with us today. So anyway, Ashlie, let's dive right in then. We referenced before the recording started a little bit, just, hey, you had an opportunity to speak at leadership. And of course, the topic that we had assigned you from a corporate side was the onboarding process. Mm-hmm. And the people on, here in our group loved your presentation, learned a lot from it, but also were like, man, I wish I could ask her this and ask her that. So, we've got you on today, and appreciate you being on. So I think what everyone, as you well know, wants to know is how do you attract so many people?
Yeah. Okay. Well, first, I just want to talk, when I was on the top 10 trip this year, Moira, who I think she said she's going to hop on this call. She was like, right? Moira's in this region?
Moira's in this call, yeah.
Yeah. I think she said she was going to hop on here. But anyway, but she was like, okay, I don't know if you can hear.
I'm going to mute all and then unmute yourself. Okay.
But this little girl right here is like screaming. She just learned about her voice, so she's like dinosauring. So if you can hear her, that's what's happening. But I had never had anyone ask me what happened when I went viral. Everyone asks like, how did you do it or whatever? But Moira was like, I want you to walk me through like step by step what happened. So I just want to take you guys back there, because I also hear a lot of people think that like, oh, I got lucky or I fell into this or something. And like, oh, if I just had a viral post, then I would have these kind of numbers. And to be honest, it really pisses me off that like Beachbody had dubbed me as the viral girl, because I'm a businesswoman, and I had, shown up every day before that, and I've shown up every day since. But what happened when I went viral was crazy. Made a post on a Friday afternoon, and, we all tell our teams don't post like things that are important or that you want people to see on Fridays or Saturdays, because nobody's looking for that, right? But I posted it because I just needed to throw something up. And I don't know how you go viral. I knew that the people that saw that post, it would resonate, it would land. But I didn't think that many people would see it, because I posted, it was like 2:30 Pacific, it was prime happy hour time for East Coasters, right, on Friday. So, and then it just started taking off. And I remember, and like by that night, it had been seen by 500,000 or something like that. And then by Sunday, it was at 2 million. And then it got up to like, I don't know, probably 100 million people have seen that now, which is a lot of eyes. So my page grew a lot. It went from 25,000 likes to 75,000 likes on Facebook. That's when Facebook was, for me, if some of you probably were always Instagram, but Facebook was my thing. And now it's Instagram for sure. But so it went from 25 to 75,000 likes in, a week or two or something like that. And so it was all these new eyes. And I had this moment of like, okay, this can either turn into something huge for me, or it can be a flash in the pan. And I remember just freaking out, like, I want to capitalize on this somehow. How do I turn these new eyes like into a business building thing? And so I got together with my best friend, Colleen. She's not a coach, but she's a business amazing. And she was like, get to her house. She pulls out this whiteboard, and she's like, okay, what's your end goal? Like, what is your, North Star? What do you want to happen? And I don't even remember what it was at the time, but it was probably something like just help as many women as possible in the entire world feel comfortable and confident in their bodies. Like to just find that confidence. So it had nothing to do with Beachbody. My goal was not to be the #1 coach. My goal was not to be a 15-star diamond. It just, my purpose on this planet is not to be the best Beachbody coach. I feel like my purpose on this planet is to really help women find their confidence and feel at peace in their bodies, because that's something I struggled with my whole life. So that was the end goal. And then we worked backwards, and we came up with like a strategy, how to deploy a plan that like still capitalized on this post that I had put up, but, kept things growing. And also I had to make sure I was still really focused on the system that I could plug people into. And that was Beachbody. So even when I had all these new eyes, and I thought, I don't want to turn them off by like being all salesy or talking about Beachbody. Right. But, I was like, no, because most of those people, they just found you from one post. They're not going to be your people. They're not going to like that you swear. They're not going to like all the things that, that you drink and that you're like, have a rude sense of humor. They're not going to like that. So turn them off. And so I just kept showing up as me. I kept swearing, I kept drinking, I kept living, I kept making sure I posted like, hey, I've got a group you can join, you know, making sure that I did have that business seed that I was planting. And then I kept also working on this. So, I mean, for me, working on my own self-love, but also like featuring other people in self-love and try to create this movement. So I just want people to understand that, like, I didn't just get lucky with a viral post. And I think that you don't need a viral post. But I think so many people are like, how do I get more likes? How do I get more followers? And at the end of the day, it's always just serve the people that are there. I've said this thing before about the dinner table. I don't know if you guys listen to the Gold Digger podcast with Jenna Kutcher, but she said this thing one time that I loved. And she said, you know, it's like, you're always looking for new followers, more people to have eyes on your stuff. And it's like you've invited all your favorite people over, the people that love you, to dinner, to have this dinner party. And they're sitting at the table, the food is served, they just love you, like great company. And instead of you sitting down with them and talking to them, you're running up and down the streets, banging pots and pans, trying to get more people to come to your party. And I feel like that's what most of us do with social media. Like, I need more eyes, but you're not serving the people at your own dinner table. And so I really focus on serving the people at my dinner table. I don't do shout outs for like reaching certain, like, oh, 10,000 followers, because I don't care who follows me. I care that I'm serving them in a way that is helping them. And if I'm not helping them, then I don't want them to follow me. Right. So, oops, I said hide, I think, opening the chat now, but, yeah, so I just wanted to kind of lay the framework for that, because Doug has told me like, oh, you're the viral girl. And I'm like, F that, I'm not the viral girl, right? And now he's like, well, now you're the APV girl or whatever. And I'm like, damn it, why can't I just be successful for being Ashlie? So I will talk to you about my funnel system, which I have none. I don't have organization. I don't have a follow-up, which is why I think your guys are going to be like, okay, how do we duplicate that? But I focus 100% on attraction marketing. I don't invite anybody. I don't scroll hashtags. I can't say this to everybody. I can say this 9 to 15 star diamonds. I don't say this to like, you know, newbies. But I don't do anything to like find new people. I don't send messages. I have one assistant. Finally we hired. So when that whole viral thing happened, my husband was on a contract job at Nike, and that expired like right around the same time. And he was going to go back, and it was too busy. We couldn't have him go back. So he was doing most of my messaging that was November 2016 was when that post happened. And it was in April of this year that once we got back from Success Club trip, when we finally hired 2 assistants, and now one of them sucks. So we fired her, and the other girl just picked up those hours. So we have an assistant that's 30 hours a week. She's super efficient. So she does all of my messaging. And now I've started to have to say that on social media, because people are like, oh, I'm getting canned responses from you. And I'm like, yep, it's my assistant that sends it. Like, once you enroll, then I'll take over. But I really get 800 to 1,000 messages a week. And they're not all people like, hey, I want to join your group. They're just, I mean, you guys know if you're storying, you're getting a shit ton of messages too, because people are like, cute sweatshirt, where's it from? And I'm like, like so many messages. And also a lot from coaches. Right. But, so yeah. So anyway, I don't have a system where I find people. I just really focus on serving the people at my dinner table. And I figure out, like Gary Vee says, I figure out what my market wants, because the market dictates, and find what posts are landing and what posts aren't. And I just feel like I have kind of the one thing that I do, well, 2 things maybe that I do that are different is I brand myself. I do not brand Beachbody. Beachbody is not a part of my brand. I mean, I am not ashamed to be a Beachbody coach. I feel like I am the prize, not Beachbody. And so like, I see a lot of people right now talking about the Shift Shop, you know, oh, you can work with a super trainer in this group. And I'm like, rad, but they can also work with you. And that's really rad. Like, I feel like people don't sell themselves enough in this business. Like, Chris Downing is great. Autumn is great, but I'm the prize, right? So, and it's taken me a long time to get there, but I know that I can help them. And so I sell me more than I sell anything about Beachbody. I don't talk about programs. I told Carl this, and this is another thing that I feel like Doug, I had a call with Doug today because I'm doing this call for his region tomorrow. And he was like, we got to figure out now that you're top coach, or you're going to be top coach. We think, we don't know, right? Nothing's set. But he's like,
set,
gotta figure
Ashlie.
out what?
Pretty set.
Yeah. So he's like, we got to figure out what your message is. And I don't know how to tell the network, like all of these things. I got to figure out how to make it, you know, apply to new coaches that are building.
So let me ask you this. I mean, I love everything that you've said, but it sounds like there's some things that you do on your social media though that are like non-negotiable for you. Like if you were to strip it all away, and I think sometimes we want, well, what's the system for this, or how many times a day are you posting?
Yeah.
But when you strip it all away and you've created your brand and you're serving the people at your dinner table, what are the things that you would tell this group? Like, hey, these are the 2 or 3 things that are non-negotiable for me that I always do for my business, or the way that I always show up to ensure that there's never a lull in the growth. What would you say? Like, you wake up and you are dang sure that you get this or that done.
I mean, I'm just dang sure that I'm posting. I don't have a huge, like thought process of like what goes up on what day. Of course I still don't, even though I had that post go up on a Friday and it did something, I still don't put like good posts up on a Friday or Saturday. I still try to, you know, make my invite posts on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. Like I do the same things that you guys do, I'm sure. But the things that I was going to say, the things that I think that are different is I really am 100% me. Like I don't filter anything. If I am wasted and I story, I just leave it up, and I can look like a fool, and I know I'm going to turn some people off, and that's okay. Like, and I don't know, and this is not a thing that you have to do, because I know like so I was on that top 10 trip, and there were some people that said like, oh, I don't do that. I want my feed and my presence to be curated. I don't want to put out into the world this look. I don't want this and that and the other. And that's fine. So what I do doesn't have to be what you do, but it is what's working for me. And I think that there is need in this world in social media for more reality. Now, you don't have to be as like out there as I am, because sometimes people tell me things that are on my story from the night before, and I'm like, probably shouldn't have put that up, but okay. So I think that there's probably, you know, like you can pare it back some where it's still a little more professional, but it works for me. Like people they crave that from me, that I share. So I don't have a thought when I wake up in the morning, what am I going to post today? I know I have to post today, you know, 1 to 2 posts, maybe pictures with like great like an awesome photo. I'm really into my visual brand now. But so I have an awesome photo and then a storytelling caption or something funny, like a short thing.
So that's like your non-negotiable then. If you're
non-negotiable.
Like, every day I'm posting 1 to 2 times. One is going to be a visually stimulating, drawing in photo. The other is going to be a story.
Well, no, they're both visually eye-catching. I want them to stop the scroll, and both of them will either have a story or a like funny something usually. Okay. I treat all my posts the same basically. So that's what I do. And then I just story throughout the day. I story, you know, whatever. And I story my life. And I follow a lot of Beachbody coaches because they're my friends. And I find a lot of Beachbody coaches only story the Beachbody parts. And I'm like, okay, but what else is there? Because I feel like if I'm watching a Beachbody coach and my life is 0% Beachbody now as a, you know, if I'm watching, I'm not a Beachbody coach, my life is 0% Beachbody. Maybe I do the workouts, but basically 0%. So I don't see how to bridge the gap between me having 0% Beachbody to you working from home, only doing Beachbody. And so I just feel like there should be more of people's lives in there. And I know our lives are now at this level, they are like, so every facet is touched by Beachbody somehow. You know, but I just think, however you can show up in a way that lets people into who you are, without Beachbody being a part of it. And then of course, you know, people see I'm working out every day. They see that consistency, my pre-workout and my workout and pushing play. And, you know, I walk every day. I do my personal development every day on there. I share my shakes. So Beachbody is a part of it. And I do talk about my boot camps and stuff that I run on there, but I don't think about my social media in what does it need? What do I have to put up? The only way I think about that is I look at my photo grid and I think like, what would be a good like visual piece to like, what does the photo need to look like? Not what story do I need to put up or whatever. I mean, I make sure I put up invite posts once or twice a week. An area of opportunity for me is I do want to start talking about coaching more because I do primarily recruit discount coaches. But I really think the reason that people come to me is because they don't know what I'm doing and they think it's my program. So I'll say like, like for this Transform 20 group right now, I'll say I'm testing out a new program. It won't be ready for you guys until, December, and we'll start it in January. But I'm testing it right now, making sure that everything works for you. You guys are going to love it, right? I don't say, oh, I was selected to be in the Beachbody test group. Cool. I'm like, I'm testing a program for you and you want my program. So then they have to come to me to purchase it. They can't Google. They can't. And then I do lose people that way because they're like, hey, so-and-so's talking about this program. Are you doing that? Or like, when 2B came out, they're like, are you running a group for 2B? And if somebody messages me and they know the name of our program and think, I'm like, you're following multiple Beachbody coaches. Fine. Like, I don't need anybody's business. That's how I take on everything. Like, I don't need anybody's business. So find the coach that resonates with you. I want people that want to work with me. So I told Carl this, I don't launch programs when Beachbody launches programs. I launch programs when I want to launch programs because I pretend that everybody that's following me doesn't know anything about Beachbody. They don't follow any other coaches. They don't know anything about the world. And if they do know about it, they're following other coaches. They'll probably go to another coach if they really want to do 2B and I'm not running the group yet. Because I didn't know if I wanted to run 2B. They didn't give us a look at the system, and I don't just slap my name on something if I don't believe in it. So I'm not going to like be promoting a 2B mindset group if I think that program's crap. Which I don't think it's crap. I think it's awesome, but I had to try it first before I ran it. So I know I lost people but I was okay with that, because at the end of the day, I want people that want to work with me. And I really sell me. And I think that that's a myth that a lot of Beachbody coaches do is they think Beachbody is like this big thing that like, that's the prize. Like, I just feel like people undervalue themselves. Like, I think you guys are all if you are a 9 to 15 star diamond, you are a boss. You are a badass. You know how to change some lives. And I feel like probably you give more credit to them being in a super trainer group than your group. And I don't know that because I don't follow you guys, but I follow Moira because Moira's my girl, but I don't know. I feel like that is a miss. Having said that, my coach that adopted me, I'm on Danielle Natoni's team. She leads Strong with Beachbody, Crazy Successful. My personally sponsored coach, Emily, she's number 3. Emily Favre, she's number 3 in the network right now, and 15-star diamond, killing it. She leads with Beachbody and it's super successful. So I say this to you as this is what's working for me, but there can be, take whatever you want from all the people and find your sweet spot, because I don't use Beachbody at all as a sales thing. But there are tons of people that are successful and do.
Awesome. Yeah. Take a drink, Ashlie. Take a breath.
I know. I'm very like, whew.
All right. I think Lindsay Stay put a question in here. If you're 100% traction marketing, how do you teach your new coaches to reach out to their market?
Okay. So if I'm honest, which I guess that's the only thing I know.
Might as well be.
Is, usually if they ask me, so I'll get on the phone with them after, you saw my thing at leadership. So after they complete the university, so they have their foundation and they know how to reach out because we give them a training on that. But if they have more questions about it, I usually say I'm now 100, I'm at traction marketing, but it took me 4 years to get there. And what I used to do isn't relevant anymore because social media is always changing. So I built my business on social or on Facebook, and I would go through my friends list and send those messages, right? And you guys know that just doesn't really, Facebook's just not the thing anymore. So I usually refer people to other trainings, and I have them watch. Haley Christian did a call for us, and it's the same one, the Gangster Rap Connections call that she did in the Beachbody Champions, but I have them refer to that team call. Colleen Curtis did one that's amazing. If you guys haven't had Colleen Curtis on a call for you, she talks about how to find people, like how to search out hashtags and how to make those connections with people on Instagram, like how to find people on Instagram, make those connections. So I refer them to that. And then Christina Battaglia also she did a wake up call on it. And then we had her do a team call for us. And she had some great stuff about inviting. So I refer them to those because I'm not an expert in that anymore. I mean, I've watched all those calls, so I can give them the high level of, you know, who are you following? Who do you like to follow? And if it's like a hair account, go to their followers and like find people that way. But I usually refer them out to people who are actively doing that right now. And I say, like, you know, I'm attraction marketing now, but this took me 4 years to get here. So just know, like, you got to put in the hard work and eventually you'll be there too. But I mean, I'm not doing it right now. So I try to be, you know, super clear with them that the work needs to be done, but also you should be learning from somebody who's doing it right now.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, girl.
I adore you. You know that.
I love you.
I feel like when I look at your social media, like you absolutely deserve to be where you're at on a social media level. Like it's that good. It's that attractive. It's just that awesome. And so my question is, like, I always read your stuff and I'm like, God, it's so good. Like you're so freaking good. And I'm like, have you gotten good organically? Because I know we've all gotten better organically, right? Thank the Lord. Or were there trainings that you went to, like, to craft stories, to share, like, just your content, and mainly the content piece versus the picture piece?
Okay, I don't think you're gonna like this answer because I think it's innate. The storytelling. I wish I was like, oh, I went to this thing and they taught me amazing things. I've always been super into words. Like ever since I was little, I was really into like lyrics or poems or quotes. Like in elementary school, I would have like a book of just like words that spoke to me. And so I think because I've read it and connected with it my whole life, I now can kind of write it. I recycle content a lot. At least my captions, because it takes a lot it takes me an hour to write some of the posts because I really want it to sound good. I want it to flow, whatever. So I recycle a lot. But I also think that I really think the Gold Digger podcast with Jenna Kutcher, I don't know if you were on yet, Moira, when I referenced that. But I learned a lot from her and like storytelling, and I learned about visual branding. And she's the one that also talked about that dinner table thing. But she started as a photographer in Wisconsin, and now she's she has tons of businesses, like several $1 million business like entities. And so I've learned a lot from her. And like her storytelling, you can go to her Instagram and you can see like her story and everything, like on her captions and things like that. But I just think it's a lot of me having that in my life and reading so much of it and consuming so much of that I constantly feel like I'm getting better and crafting. But okay. Shane, the calls that I refer them to were actually my team calls. But the one with Haley is in the Beachbody Champions page. The one with Christina Battaglia is, I think that's how you say her name. She did a wake-up call on it, but she's better if you have her on your call. Because you guys know probably you have to filter through the corporate voice on wake-up calls. And so she's better on that. And then the other one is Colleen Curtis, and I don't know if that training is anywhere, but it's awesome. So you can reach out to her, and because I don't know, I team up with my team calls. Otherwise, I would send you guys to my YouTube channel, but I can't remember. I know Christina Tanya Barron is one that hosted that one, so it'd be on her channel. So I don't know exactly where they are, but those are the girls. Yes, Jamie, those calls are on inviting and networking. Mm-hmm. Yes, great, thank you. Okay, I can see if you guys have more questions.
Christina Battaglia is on this call. We'll have to tell her, like, Christina, she even like gave you props and you weren't
giving you shout out, girl.
That's right.
Let me see the questions that you sent me if there was any. Someone said, how many hours a day do I work? So I do have one kid, because they asked about that. I have one kid, and we have one assistant that works 30 hours a week. I probably work 4-ish hours a day, some more, some less, but that's what I do. And I feel like I'm working all day, but I'm not being productive. So, I think it's 4 hours of productive work. And that's just working with my coaches, doing calls, one-on-one calls or trainings, running groups, doing stuff in my boot camp. I run a boot camp call every week, like a live call with them. So it's probably about 4 hours a day.
I have a question. So your mindset, like I just love and I thought you handled that post in the round table really well, with a lot of courage and like directness. And it was like, yeah, be nice people, like be an a-hole. But, I didn't know you before I heard about this viral post one day. And then I've studied your like Instagram a little as I saw the switch, and I saw you build this incredible brand from these new eyes. Like you definitely earned this following. I've seen you like take that, all this new attraction, right, and like do something great with it and have this really beautiful heart-led message. And from that, I see in you, and I don't know you very well, but like a beautiful badass at the same time. Has your mindset like changed at all? And was there something that like a switch flipped, or was there training kind of similar to Moira's question in your skill set as well? Or were you, not knowing you before, like were you kind of always with the energy and that kind of no nonsense attitude, if that makes sense? I'm sure
you mean like
gotten better.
You mean like how I'm just unapologetically me on social? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and in your conversations and dialogue. And I mean, I'm sure you were always that to a degree, but do you feel like
no, I was not this. I mean, I think this girl lived in here, but that's also part of why I think I love running my social media this way, is because, I mean, if you don't know my story, when I found Beachbody, I was suicidal. Like I was depressed. And I didn't know what it was growing up. I was always I just can remember back to middle school, always feeling like I was the pity inviter. No one wanted me to be around. But I was always in the popular crowd. So I know it was like an internal thing, like people wanted me there, but I didn't feel like that. So anyway, I had deep rooted insecurity. And then that, as I got older, it just morphed into depression. And then I had some medical stuff that was going on that was causing like just severe depression and just feeling suicidal. And not in that I wanted to kill myself, but I just was like, I don't understand why I'm here. Like I'm bringing everybody down around me. I think everybody deserves, like John deserves a better wife, my best friend, right? So I was like deep in it when I found Beachbody. So I am a very different human now than I was when I found this. And I mean, I think on paper, people didn't know when I say that, like even my best friend didn't know. My dad is always surprised when I tell that, because it's a lot of times the people that look the happiest that are actually struggling the most, because they have this like outward, I mean, Robin Williams, right? Like he's outward, like super happy, and inside he's just dead. So, but I think that I was in here all along. I just didn't like who I was for so long. And honestly, what happened for me was Brene Brown, this was way before the viral post, but Brene Brown, The Power of Vulnerability, I think. If you guys haven't listened to that one, it's only on Audible. It's not a book. And I'm also listening to Dare to Lead right now. It's so good. Actually, Jamie, you might've been the one that posted that in the roundtable I saw, but it's an orange cover, I think. Yeah. Power of Vulnerability. For Brene Brown. So it's a series of talks that she did. So it's much more, because sometimes she can get a little sciencey, but it's just easy listening. And in there she talks, that's where I first heard about like shining the light on your gremlins and being vulnerable, and that it's courageous and like it's a very powerful thing. And so the very first time I remember shining a light on my biggest gremlin was my depression, was a post about that. And I think I buried it somewhere in a caption and was still terrified to talk about it. And there's no way I was ready to talk about being suicidal, but I did that. And then the people that read far enough into the story, reached out. And instead of sending them running, they came out and like, thank you for talking about this. And I think the more we allow ourselves to be who we are with all of our flaws, the people that are watching us, every single human is flawed and has issues in their own shitstorm. And if we own ours, it gives them permission to own theirs. And so that started. And then I was like, okay, so then I would just start talking about it a little more. And then I threw in suicidal. And then and so I just started layering all these things that I was like carrying all this weight of like, I'm a shitty person. And as I would start showing all these things that I thought made me shitty, it made me relatable. It made me like a human. And so I just feel like I really developed it. And then now I crave it. Now I really feel like social media, if I'm struggling on something, I cannot wait to post about it. Actually, thank you for saying that about the post on the wall. That tore me up. I was really upset for like 2 or 3 days about it. So I finally had to say something, but I had to post about it because I was really struggling with it. And I had to find where the lesson was. You can't just put up your bullshit without a lesson. So, you have to spin it to win it. You guys know this. So I think
I just found a quote in there. I like that.
Oh, what's that?
You can't just post your bullshit. There has to be.
You can't just post. Yeah, there does. So I feel like we don't own our social media, everyone's got their own bullshit. No one's inspired by yours unless there's a way to teach them how to get out of theirs or to reframe their mindset. So, I posted about it and then I felt better. It's really become kind of my therapy. And so I don't know if there was the catalyst was that book by Brene Brown that started me realizing like, I don't have to carry these shame gremlins anymore. And everybody has something that they're ashamed of in their past. And so now I just crave being real. And I think when people are like, I love how real you are, or how honest you are, I'm like, man, me too, because I wasn't this way for my entire life. And now it just feels good to be me. And as you grow your following, there's a lot of haters, but there's way more lovers out there. And I feel like it's like a big ego boost. You guys probably know, right? Everything you put up, your followers like, you're amazing. You're like, cool. I'm just drinking a glass of water, but they're like, I love the way you drink your water or something. Like, it's just, people just are so great and they love you. And now I feel like people love me. Whereas people would say nice things to me before, but they didn't know me because I wasn't sharing me. I wasn't putting me into the world. So I didn't believe them, right? They'd be like, oh, you're awesome. You're funny. I'm like, you don't know. You don't actually think that because you don't know me. And now I believe them. And so I think that believing people and being me is what built this confidence. But I definitely was not like this when I started. Super long answer to your question.
Love that. No, that was boom. That was that. I want to say that's the meat of this call right there. That was fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
I have a mini follow-up to that, if that's okay. A mini one. So if you're teaching your new coaches to be courageous and open like that, right? That's obviously that next level of duplication that I'm sure you're doing.
Yeah.
So what I see with that is like, there's so much love, like you said, and there's hate too. And it's like, it could be like 10 people saying positive, affirming things and that one troll who's like, sucks the life out of them. And I struggle helping them get over the one person when there's all this love. So is there a trick for that you found?
It's just tough love. That's what I do. But if someone is hung up on the one person, I just quickly try to get them to move on from that because I'm like, and I have stories of people who were judgy. Like in the beginning when I started this business, and here's what I would maybe say to them. There's all kind of, I don't know, I don't have like a canned response, but if someone said that, I would be like, girl, no, you cannot let one person hold you back. And then I could tell the story of when I started this business, working at Nike at what I thought was my dream job. And I worked with a group of women who were awful to me and they made fun of me to my face and behind my back about Beachbody. They constantly tore me down. And I remember that actually is part of what led to my depression and feeling suicidal. And I just felt stupid. And I thought, should I keep doing this, Foodie Girl fitness thing? And I kept going. And now, look, and they probably just found another person to pick on because there is not a single person that is doing better than you that is going to spew hate. And I remember when I was the meanest, when I was most insecure. Right? Like there is nobody, if anybody is hating on you, it has so much more to do with them than you. And you just got to keep those are not your people. They don't pay your bills. And I would just go on and on about it. Like, I just think, but that's a lesson that I have to learn too, because again, the roundtable, I got a lot of love for my speech. And then there was one post and 30 different comments. But I had to just realize okay, so it didn't land with those people. So what? Right? Like, it's okay that things I put out into the world isn't received by everybody. That's okay. And I had to, I always have to learn that lesson. And then I talked to my team about that. So I just feel like I lived my whole life caring what other people thought, and it didn't do anything for me but send me into a suicidal depression. And once I decided to start living for me and being unapologetic, then, you know, that things changed. But there is a podcast actually, and I don't know what number it is. I'm probably not gonna be able to find it today, but it's the Life Coach School podcast, and it's called Other People's Opinions or something like that. Freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. So good. And I did a team call on it, and like, yeah, it's great. So if you have someone struggling with that, send them into that podcast. It's so good.
Yeah, we'll track that one down. Brooke, you had posted a question in here, but could you maybe just in light of our time running out here, maybe direct your question to Ashlie and of what you most want to hear about the boot camp?
Okay, perfect. Hi, Ashlie. I'm totally fangirling. I follow you, and my whole team's obsessed with you.
Oh,
but for your boot camps, like obviously you're probably not taking a template out of the back office or having like everyday posts. Like, are you focusing on the programs, or are you doing more like empowering women kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I do the programs because my brand is total health and like wellness. And for me, I think fitness is a part of that. I don't believe in our nutrition plans. I feel like I'm just not about the let's see how much weight we can lose. That's my brand, right? That was for years. But again, it's something that I had struggled with. Like I felt like my worth was my weight, and now I realize that it's not. So now my brand has shifted. So there is, I teach them the 21-day fix original, where you're allowed to have the treats. And then I do my own spin on it. And I do a lot of like empowering mindset stuff, because I feel like the body is never the issue. It's always the mind. 100% of the time, it's always the mind. And the body takes care of itself, right? People can lose 100 pounds and still not like the person they are, or see like someone super disgusting in the mirror. And if you don't work on what's up here. So I definitely think fitness is a part of it. I do take them through a program because I think there is confidence that is built if you do something start to finish. I love 80-day obsession. Don't like the meal plan. Too much structure for me. And I think I don't want people to have handcuffs in food at all. I don't want them to feel like and you know, some people were like, when you got to have your refeed day, there's people that are like, I'm too afraid to have a refeed day because I don't know, I think it's going to send me off. So it's just like, there's more work to do. So my favorite plan, no matter what fitness one I'm doing, is 21-day fix, but then I just have my own tweaks on it. And I just don't allow shame or guilt or anything to come in with food. So yeah, it's both. It's taking them through a program and giving them, because I think they need that baseline. Like people, when they come in, I can't just say like intuitive eat, just eat what you want with no rules. That's why I give them, like, I do think the meal plan, the original 21-day fix is great. I hate that all of our plans now don't include having like lifestyle things. But just because we don't have them doesn't mean I can't teach them. So I include that in there. But also personal development. I have them do personal development books. And then I also run weekly calls, and I try to go live several days in there about like takeaways that I'm getting from my personal development, because I want them to see I'm working on my brain too, you know, and lessons and stuff. So, oh, good. Thank you, Jamie. You found the podcast.
You beat me to that by like seconds, Jamie. I was just about to put that in there.
Master of Google.
He found it.
All right. Well, hey, we are running short on time. I don't want this recording to be super long, so that it can get listened to, and people don't look, oh, there's a 50-minute
Yeah,
you know, recording I have to look to. But are there any final questions, you guys, you think that would put a nice bow on this? Anyone have a burning down the house question that we want to ask Ashlie while she's on here? You've been fantastic, by the way. Like, just
thank you.
I think more than anything, it's the confidence that you exude right now, Ashlie, that has been developed through your effort, through the failures, through the successes, through the middle of it, through the highs, through the lows, and just battling. I mean, life is a battle, business is a battle, and you only gain confidence through figuring stuff out. And you've been willing to figure stuff out. And that's what's led to the consistency the consistent performance, that you've had. And what you've been great about is explaining that, look, hey, this is the way I do it. You might do it differently, but what you do is you always show up, and you show up with confidence, and you anchor into who you are. And that's at least been the takeaway for me. And you mentioned the credentials of the people on this call, and they're real. Like, all of you guys on this call know how to do the business. You're all amazing people, amazing coaches. You've gotten results. You've helped other people get the results. It is exuding that confidence and that tenacity consistently over time. It is what, if there were a secret sauce, I mean, that's it. And I think you've helped us to kind of rediscover that and connect with that. So thank you.
Yeah. And I think I think everyone wants to know, what am I doing? How am I getting these numbers? Because everyone wants to grow their business. But I really do think, like, if you focus on, like, do you feel good about your social media? Do you feel good about, what is the message? Maybe start with, like, what's my end goal? What is my, like, how Colleen, my best friend, did that with me on that whiteboard, like, what is my North Star? And my North Star was trying to help as many women as possible feel confident in their bodies. And then I lead with that, and then infuse other things of myself into there. But that's, like, the big thing in my social media. And I can't lead with confidence and help them, or I can't help them be confident if I'm not. So I think you want to feel really good about what your message is to the world, and figure out, and then build your social media around that. And then, of course, infuse Beachbody and infuse all the other things. But, like, what is your legacy going to be? More than just, I want to build, be an entrepreneur. Like, and maybe it is. If it is, then you should talk more about, like, business, and not just be on my team and build a Beachbody business, but, like, just build anything that makes you happy. Like, if you want to have a coffee shop, open the freaking coffee shop. We get one shot at this life. Like, just encourage people to start, like, going towards whatever confidence means for them. But I think just as long as you feel really good about your social media and your message that you're putting out into the world, I think people are attracted to that. So maybe, I don't know. I had to do a lot of work on that, and then I was really scared to implement it. But it's been amazing. And now I feel like I'm in my lane, because I had to switch lanes when this whole viral thing happened. I wasn't in this lane. And now with my North Star there kind of guiding me, I switched, and it was a rocky transition, but I feel really great now about it. So there might be some rocky stuff in your future. I don't know, but I think eventually you'll find your lane.
Find your lane, you guys. I love it. We will end on that. Ashlie, thank you so much for joining us on this call. It's been extraordinary. We really appreciate it, and wish you the very best in the rest of your year and in your life with your baby girl and you have going. Thank you for being willing to share with us. We appreciate it. And thanks to the team over here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for hopping on. I hope it was helpful. And I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Ashlie. I'll get this posted in our group, you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.